Had an interesting conversation with someone regarding what's going on in the country right now with Trump's massive moves in terms of, and this was my fear coming into his presidency, that he's an authoritarian, that he is going to govern by fiat, by command, that he's going to skirt things like due process. All of that has come true. All of that has come to fruition. Trump's an authoritarian. He's a narcissist. That's just the way it is. The problem that we have is that we're pretending that the guy before him and the guy before him and the guy before him, that those people weren't all also authoritarian narcissists. The problem that we're having is that nobody wants to point out tyranny when the tyrannical powers are being used to their benefit or in a way in which they agree. Nobody cares. For 4 years, Joe Biden was president of the United States and completely disregarded the law and was completely derelict in his responsibilities in securing the border, and millions of people came flooding into the country. Now, there's a lot of people. I don't understand this. Nobody's been able to give me a good explanation as to why, but there are tons of people who think that we should be borderless and we should just open up the doors and anybody who wants to come in can come in, free movement of people and so on and so forth. I think that's incredibly naive and childish. Nobody's been able to give me a good reason why my beliefs along those lines are incorrect. The least of all, we're talking about like MS-13 and these other gangs and whatnot, not to mention the fact that we have enemies. If China and Iran and Russia know that our borders are going to be wide open for 4 straight years, geez, I wonder if they're going to try and slip operatives across the border to work to disrupt the United States of America, to try and create social unrest. Or you think we're the only country in the world that does that? You think we're the only country that puts people in positions in foreign countries to try and topple governments and create civil unrest? Do you think all of this protesting and violence is just organic and springing up out of nowhere? So explain to me how the free and open movement of people solves any of those problems. It doesn't. But regardless of that, the fact of the matter is we had an open border for 4 years. That is in direct conflict with the laws that our representatives have written. That's in conflict with the law. So you don't get to do the law and order thing. He disregarded the law. He disregarded the will of the elected representatives of the people and opened the borders. Poll after poll said the overwhelming majority of Americans did not support open borders. This was an 80-20 issue. And he ignored the people and did this thing. He was being authoritarian. Just because the police presence wasn't there, just because the National Guard presence wasn't there, doesn't mean it wasn't an authoritarian action. Intentionally being derelict in your duty to uphold the law is as authoritarian as overstepping your authority to enforce the law. They're both authoritarian. Your job as an elected official is to act on behalf of the people. He didn't do that. So what happens when the next guy gets elected? Well, the next guy's on the other end of the spectrum. The next guy is a law and order person. He's going to do the things that he's doing. He's going to skirt due process. He's going to call up the National Guard. He's going to do all these authoritarian things and push the boundaries of what he can get away with within the bounds of the Constitution to try and restore, in his mind, law and order. The problem is nobody holds their own people to account. I'm seeing the comments on Donald Trump. People are happy that the Marines are deploying. People are happy that the National Guard's getting called up. And all I can think to myself is, and what happens when the next guy's in power and you're declared a domestic threat to the country? What happens then? Are you going to be happy then? Are you going to be happy when, hey, this group of criminals in particular doesn't deserve access to due process because they're a domestic threat, right? So that's the next step, right? We're going to send these people off to a foreign country for prosecution. That way they're not in the United States and we don't have to, abide by our values and laws and the way and due process and all the protections that our Constitution gives, because these people don't deserve that. We start categorizing people and saying these people don't deserve access to this. That's your overstep. That's your push. So Trump is wrong, and he's overstepping his bounds in response to Biden being wrong and overstepping his bounds. If Biden and the Democrats want more people coming into the country, if they want more immigration, then they should have fixed immigration policy. Show me one time when the Democrats have been in power where an actual concrete plan to fix immigration existed. Where it's like, here's what we're going to do to fix immigration. We need more people coming into the country to help us grow our economy. These people are valuable to our economy, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix the immigration problem. They're telling you the truth on the news. When they say these are the people who make your hotel beds, these are the people who are picking our crops, these are the people who are doing all these undesirable, quote, quote, undesirable jobs in the United States, they're telling you the truth. What they're saying is we can't make it legal for them to be here because then we have to treat them like Americans. So the Democrats don't want to solve this problem. The Republicans don't want to solve this problem. They do like fighting about it in the media, but when either political party has been in control, nobody's really tried to address the issue. So let's get this back to the initial point, and that is that we are in the process of having another authoritarian president doing authoritarian president things, and nobody cares if they're doing it for something that you believe in. That's the problem that this country has right now. So you're going to have all these big protests, the Not a King Day protests, and it's going to be nationwide, and there's going to be violence. And I'm telling you, it's my belief that this is completely not an organic movement. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we find out that tons of foreign nationals, not Mexican immigrants, but planted foreign nationals from places that are unfriendly to the United States, are playing a significant role in organizing this with the intent of dividing the nation as we are slowly moving towards what appears to be World War III. That's the problem. That's where we're at right